All right. Well, we're back for another great show. They're all great. That's how I have to start, Steve. All right. They're all great in my eyes, and that's all that matters. No, but I've got another good guest, great experience. I'm excited to kind of learn more about him. I've watched him over the last few years and have seen what he's been doing up in Greensboro, but I've got Steve Swetoha with me. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, Andrew. Good afternoon. How are you? And thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for connecting. I kind of like that area of North Carolina too. I don't know. Did the first year when you guys were with the Swarm, did you guys play in Winston-Salem some games or no?
We did not. So the team started 16, 17. So I was hired in 15.
Gotcha.
And I started out of Charlotte, out of the home base in Charlotte
Yeah.
for 6 months. And as we were talking prior to this, very familiar with a lot of the Hornets organizations. I had worked there previously prior to my Tulsa experience. So it was really good to reconnect with a lot of people that I had been in contact with, here and there. But really, so I started my first 6 months in Charlotte. So I didn't get to Greensboro outside of my site visit, so to speak, looking for a place to live. Not until February of 16, going into the 16-17 season. So
Nice.
6 months sort of reconnecting about the brand,
Yeah.
staff, people, and then moved to Greensboro in 16 of February.
Well, there's an arena in Winston-Salem not too far. It's named after my wife's grandfather, Lawrence
Right?
Joel. And so
Yeah.
I thought maybe an early article said that you guys might play between the two while the arena was being built or something. So I wasn't sure if that happened, but
At one point, there was discussion that we would play 12 games at the field house in Greensboro, and then a number of games at Joel. So
okay.
I think that had been discussed, and I just think that we thought I wasn't part of those discussions prior to me getting here, but I'm pretty sure that we didn't want to confuse our fans. Well, were they playing Winston-Salem tonight? And, if you know a little bit about the area, a lot of people from Greensboro don't go to Winston-Salem, and a lot of people from Winston don't go to Greensboro. So I
It's
love
like, ew, I'm not going over there.
I know, being a Pittsburgh guy, I lived in the North Hills, the north side of town, and to go to the south side of town, it was odd for me. But I get it. But, the Triad, the Piedmont area, it's a really cool place.
Yeah. Well, kind of walk us through, your career. I think you just mentioned you're from the Pittsburgh area, but start off with where you went to school and kind of your journey along till now.
Yeah, Andrew, thanks. So Robert Morris University undergrad, went through the sport management program there. Bill Sutton, that we're very familiar with.
The Godfather.
Godfather. Doc Sutton was my first college class as a student. His was his first college class as a professor.
Wow.
And so I consider him, a father to me, based on him taking me and allowing me to grow in the 4 years that I was there. Did my graduate work at Duquesne University, not right out of Robert Morris. Took a few years, went back. But NHL, I started my first job was with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the NHL. I was a junior going into my senior year, internship with them, offered me an opportunity before I graduated, decided to work part-time because I needed to finish school in 4 years. But, the story is basically I've had a chance to work with some really good people. I've had a chance to work with work in some really good leagues. I think, I hope, I feel that everywhere I've been, I've had a chance to learn more. I started selling tickets with the Penguins. And people ask me all the time, well, how did you get where you got? I just wanted to learn about the industry itself. And just because I was selling tickets, I wanted to understand how marketing worked and how corporate sales worked and how communications worked. So I've had those chances. I've worked in the NHL, WNBA, NBA, G League, even dabbled into the collegiate side with the ACC football championship back in 2010. So very fortunate, some luck, but hard work does pay off. You and I talked earlier about that. I think it's a really cool industry to be in if you like sports.
Yeah. Did you know, like, at an early age that you wanted to work in sports, or how did that even come about?
Really crazy. I was a junior in high school, and I still did not know what I wanted to do. I had applied for a couple of schools in the tri-state area, and I stumbled across this university, Robert Morris, right 30 minutes from my house. That they had a sport management program. Like, hey, you know what? I like sports. I played sports all my life. How difficult could this be? Right? So I decided to make end of my junior year, going to my senior high school, like, hey, this is where I want to be. It seemed like a really interesting career and opportunity. And so that's how it started. I learned a lot about, it wasn't, as I used to say back in the day, it's not going to Robert Morris and learning how to line a football field. You were learning sport management 1 and 2, sports economics 1 and 2, sports law. And the intriguing part for me there was you had to do an internship on campus, and you had to do an internship outside of campus. So Bill was very instrumental in, hey, we've got the University of Pittsburgh and we've got Penguins. Where do you want to go? And I interviewed for both, and I felt like the right fit for me was hockey, because back in high school I was working in the press room, and I was serving beverages for all the press. Back in the day, it was the press box. You stocked the Coke machine back in the day, or the Pepsi machine back in the day. I got to know a lot of those guys, like Paul Staggerwald and Paul Martha and all those guys. And, it intrigued me to, hey, this is where I want to be. So that really helped me get to Robert Morris and beyond that.
It was Murray in school with you back then? Like, you know Murray Cohn?
Yeah,
Is it Cohn?
Yeah, Murray Cohn.
Yeah.
So yes, Murray graduated, I think, a year or two before or after me. I hope not.
Okay.
It's either one or the other. I can't remember, but yeah, we went to school together. So he's he's like he is well known in the industry with experience. And he worked for the soccer team, the Pittsburgh Spirit.
Yep.
As an intern when I was working for the Penguins as an intern in the Igloo back in the day. So yeah, he's been really a unbelievable person for the industry, including Robert Morris. He's such a great mouthpiece for our program.
Yeah, no, he was my first guest on my podcast. And let me tell you, man, I was like so nervous, like, because it was like my first one. And like, I have a lot of respect for Murray. And I was just like, it was, every time I look at it, I like cringe. I'm like, oh my God, that was so bad. But no, he's a great guy. And I remember him telling me similar story about his experience at school there. That's why I was curious to see if you guys had crossed paths there.
Yeah.
So when you got into it, it seems like a lot, ticket sales. How long did it take for you to explore some of those other areas? And was that just you kind of forcing your way in, or was there just opportunities that popped up that let you spread out a little?
Yeah, really good question. And I'll try to answer it as quickly as I can. Being from Pittsburgh, there were a lot of good people that came out of that area in Robert Morris, like a Bill Sutton and a Vic Regovitz and Murray Kahn, Bernie Mullen, to name a few, right? And when I worked for Pittsburgh, I love selling tickets, but I just felt like there was so much more for me to want to learn. And instead of getting to selling, I wanted to get on the leadership management side. One day out of the blue, a guy by the name of Len Komorowski reached out to me, and I consider Len a dear friend, a mentor. It was in conjunction with him and Buffy Phillips from Teamwork Online. So you can imagine how this industry is so tied.
Oh, yeah.
Together, right? I get a call from Buffy one of these days. A guy by the name of Len Komorowski is going to be reaching out to you. He wants you to come work for him in Cleveland, because he was going to run the Lumberjacks, which was the IHL team for the Penguins at the time. And quick story. So Len is a North Catholic guy, Pittsburgh guy, grew up there. He was 4 or 5 years ahead of me. He heard of me through Buffy. So that chain started to roll, and very fortunate. So I after my 10 years in Pittsburgh, I took a chance and I moved to Ohio, and I learned the entire business from Len. He taught, back in the day, minor league days, as you know, you lived, we had the team, we had nowhere to go, so we lived together in an apartment for a month and a half. And who would have thought this guy, Len Komorowski, is one of the top sports marketers, presidents in the entire world in this industry. He taught me everything. And so that gave me he energized me to say, look, I could be really good at this. And one piece at a time, he got me engaged and involved. And, he's really one of the main guys that got me, that has helped me get to where I am today. I can't thank him enough. But it's the biggest thing, Andrew, that I saw this whole process was everything works together. Right? If I was selling tickets, I needed my partnership team to be involved somehow. I needed my communications team. 20 years ago, it's the same thing now, if not more. Yeah. And so I just took all that in, was a sponge, try to understand how each department worked together. And I was very lucky and fortunate because of those experiences. So whether it be in Cleveland and then a couple other spots, and, I had a chance to work for the NBA as a Teambo rep for about 6 months with Bernie Mullen and Bill Sutton. So that really sort of rounded out my, hey, here's how it really works. Right. That it just sort of took off from there.
Well, I mean, that program is definitely a great spot, to learn a lot. It amazes me. I look at a lot of people that are in Teambo and who have been in there, and, it's just, man, some great minds. So definitely loving that. So, did you have like a preference? Like, were you kind of like, you consider yourself like a marketing guy or a ticket guy, partnership, or you just kind of, just leader?
Yeah, I would say it's the latter. I know you had a lot of in between there, but my first 10 years I was a ticket guy and a sales guy. And then, after that, I didn't want to get pigeonholed into just selling tickets because I felt like I had the bandwidth and the understanding of how a company would work and the various intricacies of that. I would say that I look at myself as a chief revenue officer guy type, that I could generate revenue and recruit and retain and drive new business. It really took off for me from a partnership side when I was in Tulsa as the chief revenue officer and president of the team. And I also oversaw basketball, but I didn't want the GM title because I knew that was not my forte. I don't know if I'd ever do it again. It's crazy. The basketball side is crazy.
A whole nother animal right there.
Right. In terms of evaluating talent, salary cap, and understanding the collective bargaining, dealing with agents and dealing with coaches. It was a great experience for me. It's something that no one can ever take away from me. And on the fly, a weekend, we let go Nola Richardson. Next thing you know, I'm running the basketball side. But, I believe that, and this is all built around having really good people around you, right? As you have experienced. We were the first, and I was telling someone this the other day, the Tulsa experience with going into a bigger market. We were the 12th. We were out of the 12 WNBA teams. We were the smallest WNBA team market. For us to be able to secure a $2.9 million jersey deal from our casino partner, and I'm pretty sure that we were the first. I was the first person that be able to put the word casino on a NBA WG League jersey. That stuff can never be taken away, right? Right. So, I love the revenue side of it, but like you said, I feel like I have the opportunity and the experience to be a leader of all those various departments. But if I got really stuck, I know how to go out and create revenue, maintain revenue, retain revenue, and to find new revenue. I think that's really important. And as you know, at this level, in our business. Sure.
Well, especially, I mean, when you're going out to pitch a 6-7 figure deal, I mean, they unfortunately don't want to deal with, maybe an account executive, the president of the team. I think that definitely brings some more credibility coming out there. And not to say that they, account executive can't do it, but at the minor league level, people want to be rubbing elbows with you. They want to know they got the ear. When you went to Tulsa, was that a startup situation as well, or was that an established team?
Yeah, so funny. It was a startup.
Okay.
Kind of funny, you talked about the story about you going through various opportunities. A dear friend of mine, Mike Levy, had accepted a job in Tulsa.
Canton.
Yeah, he's now in Canton. Now he left, and now he's running
Hall of Fame, I think.
Hall of Fame Village.
Yeah.
He was a really good guy. I went home, I guess, and long story short, he called Bill Cameron and said, "Hey, Bill, I'm out. Like, my family doesn't want to move to Tulsa." And so I got a call from the NBA because I had a lot of experiences with people and relationships, and like Tulsa, I'm like, Tulsa, I've never been to Oklahoma, ever.
Right.
And I got on the plane December 27th of 2009, and they had made the offer to me on my second, I was in between planes from Tulsa to Atlanta back to Charlotte. And, it was an opportunity that I really couldn't pass up. It was something that I really wanted to do. I had 4 months to start that franchise. Now, the NBA had put some sort of boots on the ground prior to that with some office space, some employees, but we had 4 months to sign a court, jerseys,
Been there, man. That's not fun. That's
4
not
months. But it was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
Had a chance to live my life there. But going back to your, the Osage deal that was a huge deal for us. You know this because you've been in this space. It's all about relationships, right? Yeah. And we built those relationships. We built this partner. He was spending $75,000 the first year, $85,000 second year, $95,000 third year, and then boom, he rolls into this $2.9 million deal for 3 years. And we had the renewal for 2 more years after that, but then Bill Cameron decided to move the team down. Yeah. But yes, 4 months. So, when we talk about experience, heck, if I can get a team up in 4 months, and when I came to Greensboro, us having a year to be ready, that was.
You're like, can we start early? It's like, this isn't fun. This isn't challenging.
Yeah. So, outside of my wife being in Tulsa and me flying back and forth every few weeks until she got here in 16. But yeah, so as you and I talked about, having a chance to build your own team from the ground up is really cool.
Yeah.
However, it takes really a team effort. And I'm not here saying I've done it by myself. A lot of people around me were very helpful and successful, and great leadership with the Hornets, and having a task force on that restart program for us was really helpful in that committee. But yeah, Tulsa was a great experience, and we miss it, but we love being in North Carolina. Yeah,
North Carolina it's definitely a nice area.
Right.
Love that area. Like a lot of people, I used to, when I was a league president at one point, I would always get people that would hit me up. Hey, I want to own a team. I want to do this and that. And I mean, first of all, most people, I would say 99% of the people outside of our industry have no clue the work that goes into it. But I think even a lot of people in the industry don't know what it really takes to launch a new team, and, the amount of effort that you have to put in. And, you're basically, you're taking an idea and, creating something. So how was that process, there? I know it probably helped a little having Charlotte as, the owner and the affiliate, but, how hard, was that challenge?
Well, the opportunity. So when I was in Orlando with Carolyn Peck, when I worked for RDU Sports, we had started the Orlando Miracle, right? So that was one team. Then then Tulsa, then now Greensboro, Charlotte/Greensboro. Those experiences really helped me, Andrew. As you know, I think the NBA is well run. It has great leadership.
I think it's the best.
There's no
on the
question.
business side.
The whole bubble piece that Commissioner Silver and his team, Mark Tatum, and it took a number of people to make that happen. Right? Yeah. There's no question that the NBA had sort of, hey, here's what the blueprint looks like for a new G League team. It certainly didn't hurt with the experience that I had coming from Tulsa, knowing that it would take an effort of people. I was by myself. I was the only employee for 6 months, and then we hired someone in February of 16. It was really helpful. I knew what, Fred and James and Seth and others wanted with the Hornets executive team, but they allowed me to come in and help. Hey, here's how we do things here, and here's, I've been through most of the, I knew where the scars were going to be sort of identified and how you rip the Band-Aid off. But I just think that the league was very helpful. The Hornets had an idea, and I had a chance to come in and sort of put the bow, wrap the bow around some things that maybe we hadn't thought about, my experience. So great experience. I think it gives you a chance to put your stamp on what that may look like, but it takes a lot of people to be engaged and involved. And it's not about me, it's about the brand, the brand of Michael, and our team and the Hornets organization, HSC Sport. So fun. It's not like you're going in and the team has been there for 30 years. Yeah. And you're trying to figure out, well, what has not worked for 30 years, right? This is new and refreshing and fun.
Yeah, or even just having to inherit a bad culture or anything. I mean, you can kind of set that, and I love the startup phase of just business in general. It is very challenging, and it really pushes me. But yeah, I mean, you can fill out the whole roster on the front office side with the pieces that you want, and I think that's great. Were you part of? Did you have to get involved on the construction side too? Because I know there was some stuff getting the facility ready and all that kind of stuff. Was that done through the city, and you guys just kind of supervised a little bit?
Yeah, so a lot of the I's were dotted, T's were crossed prior to me getting there. But little things like, hey, do you want bleachers or do you want seat backs? And I met weekly with the construction crew and the project manager. As you know, you're following it to some degree. It opened up. It was really tight. We didn't have a lot of time to be able to get people in that building. It was like a week. And working with the city, and they've been great. The city of Greensboro has been fantastic. It's certainly a great basketball market for us. The tournament. It's just been a great experience for all of us, and with the city being supportive of that, their moniker is the tournament town with all the AC schools surrounding us. So. And we had a chance to make some changes too. I mean, coming to, hey, how large is our weight room and locker room going to be versus what other things? So we really got involved. Now we're to a point where we're outgrowing it a little bit. What changes would we like to make and become more engaging how our fans may look at what their needs are and the expectations there, especially with the pandemic. So it's really good, as you know, when you have people that are engaged in the entire process, right? If they're not, then corners are going to be cut. They don't care about certain things. The city has in their contractors did a really good job.
Yeah, that's good. What's the seating capacity now?
So it's, if we had to include additional seats, it's about 2,100, and then we can pack in another 100 with standing room only. We've had a chance to do that over the first couple of years. But, we want to make some additions to that, some hospitality areas, video board, some more seats, and some other things to the structure of the facility. But, we feel like we play in a really good building, and that's the right size for our league. And
Yeah.
great place.
Well, I've noticed, a lot of the teams coming into the G League are kind of creating similar size facilities. I mean, I think it's great size and perfect for it. I mean, the atmospheres, of the games that I've been at have been, great. But I've noticed that. So how has the league changed since you joined back in 2015?
Well, the league has changed. I think play has gotten so much better. You have a lot more movement with the NBA rosters, G League rosters, and vice versa. I think with the NBA G League, the Gatorade League now, I think back in my second season, they took on that entitlement of that league, the ability to train and sort of measure our players and to understand their bodies and how they sweat, how they recover after games, and all that information is helpful to the NBA teams. I think that we realize how important. I know we are really important to the Hornets. How many guys have come through here that have made an impact at the NBA level with Devontae Graham and Dwayne Bacon and the Martin twins and other guys that have come through here and vice versa. Dwayne wasn't getting a lot of playing time. He elected to come here and 51 points on a given night this past year. So it certainly helped his game. And so I think the first couple of years, I think we were trying to figure out as an organization how the G League worked with the parent club.
Yeah.
I think with some changes and with JV on board and now Mitch on board, I think we've, because they came from Eric Martin teams that had success at the G League level, with JV being in the Spurs organization. So I certainly think that has really helped our organization understand the impact that we can have. And it certainly has shown with players like Graham, Bacon, and others.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing to see like how many guys actually have gone back and forth. And I think just a few years ago, it was a lot more difficult for players to go between the leagues, wasn't it?
Well, I think
they were free agents.
Yeah, there are 6 guys that would be considered on property, 4 training camp guys, and you can sign 2 affiliate players. I just think from a Hornets swarm perspective, every coaching staff has his or her philosophy as it relates to how the G League would work.
Yeah.
And we have had more movement the last couple of years than we had the first couple of years in existence. And every team's different, right? If you looked at Canton, for example, they probably had movement all over the place because maybe they came from a different system that had thoughts about how the G League worked. But I think, our building's probably a little small, right?
Yeah.
But, we like to continue to make improvements so that from a fan experience perspective, as you have been engaged with, it's really about our fan and his or her experience. And, at some point we want to add some different bells, so to speak, sort of bells and whistles to make their experience even more engaging.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's important. How is your day kind of made up? Maybe pre-COVID, like what do you focus on being a president of a G League team?
Well, as with your experience, you have your eye on the ball of every department, right? So I have 5 direct reports. A typical day for me, as you know, it could be different, right? Like this morning, I had a call with corporate partnerships for an hour based on, hey, what's happening? Where are we? Retaining clients, new business, updates there. We're working on budgets right now, so we have lined up all budget meetings for our leadership team. It's different it seems like every Zoom call is different, right? Whether it be a mascot opportunity or working on the pre-draft for November 18th and what that plan may look like for our fans, or reaching out to, I handle a lot of partners myself that I generate revenue for. So it's every week I'm calling or reaching out to those individuals. It's something different every 45 minutes, it seems like. And as you probably are still working from home too, it's hard for me to get out. You usually get in your car, drive to a meeting, walk to the office, come back. I don't think I get out of my seat here in my, some people call it the workout room in the background, but it's, I got thrown to the bonus room here with my daughter being working from home at school. So, but it's different every minute of every day. And you have to have really good people that work with you to keep you on top of stuff too. And I have a really good team that I really feel fortunate that they are really getting the hang of it, understand the teamwork and the ability to communicate and have people engage. So it's different from budgets to game entertainment to fan engagement to selling a partnership to recapping a deck to looking to put our games on TV from broadcast side, and all these, like you said earlier,
Everything.
people have no idea.
Yeah.
We have a company that streams our games. They have to get engaged in the process of, do we have all the equipment? And so it's always evolving. And it's not something you just get up and do the same thing every day.
Do you get a lot of engagement from Charlotte? Like, do they participate in your business there a lot? Like, do partnership people sell partnerships for the Swarm? Do marketing people work with you there for marketing things, or is it kind of a separate entity?
Yeah, so even though we're owned and operated by HSE Sports, they allow us to run independently, right? We have a budget. However, it's been really cool in the last 5 years. I think if there's any ever silver lining in this pandemic, is that we've had a chance to really grow our relationship with the Hornets from a departmental perspective. They're there when we need their help. We want to get engaged. They do have, hey, what are your thoughts on this? How are things going here? I have direct reports that know every week what we're doing, every day what we're doing, and staff reports, and calls every week with Seth, and calls every other week with James Jordan. They've been very helpful. So ideally, all of our team leaders have a partner. So Ellery Price, who's our ticket manager, she deals with all the Hornets ticket sales people and customer service. Every week they're on a call. Same thing for Don on the partnership side with Justin Compton and his team, to Justin Trujillo on the communication CSR side. So every week they're engaged. Hey, here are things important. And plus, there's a lot of things that the Hornets are doing that they want to include our fan base. Like our draft coming up, there's things the Hornets are planning. Well, we dovetail into that from the partnership side and the season number side. So it's been very beneficial. We couldn't do it without them. There are some resources that we don't have, like legal and finance, and a couple others that they take off our HR.
Yeah.
So that
it's a big help.
We don't have those positions here. They help cover us, and it's been a blessing because, as you know, in Tulsa, our staff was tripled because of that. We had to do everything on our own.
Yeah, it sucks.
So there's a lot of positives. As you said, most teams are owned by their NBA affiliate, and there's a lot of sort of similarities and contributions that are shared amongst both staffs.
So how has COVID affected you guys there? I'm sure the season got cut, but did you guys shut down the office for a while? Are you guys, sounds like you're back meeting people and getting things going?
So we've been working from home since March 12th. We have maintained our staff. It's been a lot of Zoom calls, as you are probably used to. A lot of everything we've been doing have been phone calls or Zoom calls. We've not met with anyone in person. We were out a few weeks ago at a partner, Greensboro water resource. We helped clean a creek for a couple hours. It was good to get out of the house and stuff like that, but I had not seen in 6 months. So it's really, we're trying to maintain, engage, keep people up to speed on what's happening. It's certainly been challenging, just simply because of for me, it's the mental health of seeing people in person. And, I have a young staff that may be by themselves, and, we want to make sure that they're engaged. It's been a challenge, but HFC, give them credit. They have really gone above and beyond the expectations of taking care of their staff. They already had, but it's just another level. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's, so important. I mean, I was up in Virginia when everything kind of happened, and, my staff was a lot of younger, entry level to maybe 5 years experience. So, a lot of people right out of college, and, this is scary, and so just trying to keep everyone, focused, not panic, and just be there. I ended up going a little overboard with the staff. I think probably they got tired of it, but we did 2 Zoom calls a day with the staff, morning and at the end of the day. Every morning was maybe 5-10 minutes. It was like, let's go, let's wake up, today's a great day, let's get these guys jacked up, talk about what we have going on that day, real brief. End of the day, what do we got? And we actually had a lot of success. We sold over $300,000 in new business the first 2 months of COVID. Now, I'd say not the first 3 months, because the first month we didn't really do anything. We were kind of like, what the hell do we do? Then we had some really good success, but those calls, I think, really helped keep them in line, because a couple of them, they all have their own small little apartments. They're not set up to really work from home to begin with. And, I thought that was important, is just to be visible with them. And, we just got creative. I never hosted a Zoom call until COVID. And now I host them all the time.
Well, I give you a lot of credit. We lost 20% of our home games, right? Yeah. We lost the entire month of March. 3 of those 5 were sellouts. We started what you did. Every other day we checked in. And then at the end, and then it got to a point where, okay, I don't want to sound and feel like we're checking on you guys.
Yeah.
Because I was getting overwhelmed with other meetings. And so I'm like, you know what? We're good, right? Yeah. We learn quickly, but it's been an opportunity probably too, as you and I talked a little bit about, self-awareness, what's important, right? I never got up at 8 o'clock to walk my dog in the morning. Now I do. Right. Get her some exercise, give me some exercise. 3-legged dog, by the way.
3-legged dog. Wow.
That's unbelievable. Okay. But it's, who knows what the new norm will look like, right? We're trying to figure out no fans capacity. What's the, and so, it's a lot of positive with the NBA coming out without any issues in the bubble. You're seeing some NFL, college, probably you've seen some issues there. But it's a blessing that you can get up and watch a sporting event with people in the stands, right? And I know it's outdoor versus indoor, but hopefully if things progress, people will stay smart. Hopefully we'll, a lot of our teams can't just rely on TV revenue like the NFL does. And the NFL may question that, but when you're getting a check cut for $300 million.
Yeah, it's a little different. I'll take one of those. Right. I'll take one of those.
Right.
No, sure. That's so is there a timeline that you guys will know in North Carolina or with the G League on? Because I can't go too long without some basketball. I mean,
yeah, well, last night ended our the NBA run. We're waiting for CDC. I know that we're in phase 3 right now here in North Carolina.
Okay.
But a lot of those are mostly outdoor events. But hopefully we can get through this. We're preparing for a number of scenarios, so we're in the same boat as everybody else.
Well, I'm sure you guys have been doing this too. This worked out well for me in Virginia. Was we spent a lot of time on trying to hone in the skills, the sales team too. And just, we had like Murray come on to some of our Zoom calls and other sales trainers and just, a variety of people to kind of just, let's make sure that we're sharp. I'll be honest. I think we were probably more efficient working from home than we were in the office, because in the office there's a little bit too much bullshit here and there. Like, you know, like, I mean, at home, I just felt like I was working. I got much more done, and I was distracted less. I had less people coming in my office. So for me, I thought it was good, but I like that interaction though. Like I kind of need that, you know, I like the energy. And so it's definitely going to be something to get used to as things settle down.
No question. You're right. I miss the interaction. I miss seeing people and, you know, saying hello and some sort of personal sort of conversation.
Yeah.
Instead of being on the screen. So hopefully that changes.
Yeah, it will. It's going to have to. But I mean, I think things are progressing. I know in Florida where I'm at, I know that they have cleared for some of the NFL teams to be back. So how that progression goes, but I think people, you know, hopefully now with this issue, hopefully as we move forward, we'll all be smarter. We'll all be a little safer, and we'll think about, you know, those things, from washing hands and just all the little things that they say to do now. If we continue to do that, it's going to continue to decline. So I'm excited to see sports back. It's what I love. And I'm going to keep watching the G League. I love the G League, and I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why, but I love the business model of it. I love the way the NBA operates on the business side. And it's made me more of an NBA fan, like just watching games, or even G League. When G League's on TV, I'll watch that. But the business of it is what really excites me. And that's what I'm excited to continue to see the G League kind of wrap up the last few teams, because I think there's still a few teams that are not having an affiliate, right?
Yeah, I think our goal was to have 30 teams. I think we're a couple shy right now.
Yeah.
You know, I think New Orleans, I think we'll have a team, I think Birmingham next year.
Yeah.
Or the year after. And then what happens to our team in Erie, that, you know, Matt Breezen's team. But, yeah, so, you know, it's another extension of basketball. Some of those college guys that may not make an NBA roster, there's a lot of college affinity for some of those players back in the day that, you know, they want to see them be successful. And, you know, we have open tryouts, as you probably know, that each year. And our first year we had over 220 guys try out for $200, and there have been players that have gone to open tryouts, made the training camp roster, may have made a G League roster, may have made an NBA roster, and that have made won NBA championships. So what other league can say you can do that?
Yeah, but then you also had guys like me try out, probably.
Well, you $200, man. No matter how good you are.
But hey, there's so much talent out there, and I like the new rule with you know, the high school kids now. You know, I think that opens up. I mean, college isn't for everyone, unfortunately. I mean, it's just not. So I think that was a smart move by the league. So, well, Steve, I want to thank you for joining me, man. It was great chatting, you know, kind of getting to learn a little bit more now that I won't just see your photo and stuff on LinkedIn and social media.
Well, no, hey, Andrew, really, I thank you so much for reaching out and inviting me. You've had a lot of great speakers on your podcast. So, you know, I feel like I'm in good company with guys like Murray Khan and Waddell and others that you've had going on. No, it's always great talking shop. You know, you have a great background, and if there's anything else we can do, don't hesitate to reach out. Hopefully we can stay in touch. But thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. And good luck this season.
Thanks, Andrew.